Try, adapt, learn. In this video, we will try to remove the blade from a circular saw without a lock button. If you haven't already subscribed, subscribe now for more videos including DIY, maintenance, and projects. I got this circular saw free, and as seen, the blade is loose, but the fastener holding it will not come off to remove the blade. This is a Skilsaw model 5400 and has no lock button to hold the shaft for the fastener. With that in mind, the steps in this video may be adapted to any circular saw without a lock button. As a side note, when purchasing a circular saw, one of the first features I look for is the lock button. We will look at another saw with this feature. On this saw for comparison, we can see that it is cordless and the battery is disconnected. We can see that when the fastener is turned with a wrench, the blade and the shaft will also turn with it. When the lock button is pushed down, it locks the shaft that the blade and fastener are installed on. With the shaft locked, it makes it much easier to remove or install the fastener. Looking back at the Skilsaw 5400, we can see that the power cord is disconnected from the electrical outlet. We can see that the shaft and the fastener rotate with the wrench. We can also see that the blade is loose. From this view, we can see the location that the lock button might be installed on saws with similar cases to this. While rotating the tool, we can see that there is no lock button on this model. The recommended procedure to remove this fastener is to hold the teeth of the saw blade with scrap wood. As seen, because the saw blade is loose, it is free from the shaft and the fastener. Again, from this angle, holding the blade when it is loose from the shaft and the fastener will not help to remove the fastener. So at this point, an electric impact tool was used to remove the fastener. This worked because the tool rotated fast enough and with enough torque to break it free from the shaft. With the fastener removed, the washer and blade are set free and removed. The bolt gauge was used to measure the thread size. I saw that the threads are worn down a little at the beginning of the fastener. The threads could have been worn from the impact tool or related to the original issue of why it was stuck. As seen, with the worn threads, the fastener was unable to be reinstalled into the threads of the nut. From this view, you can see more detail of the wear on the beginning of the threads. Another gauge was used to confirm the thread size. With the thread size confirmed, a thread die was then used to chase the threads on this fastener. Now with the fastener rethreaded, you can see at the beginning of the fastener the threads are angled similar to the rest. The bolt gauge was again used to check the thread. This time the fastener had no problem being installed into the nut on the bolt gauge. With the saw unplugged, the blade was then installed. The direction of the rotation is marked on the lower guard and matches the marks on the blade. The washer was installed over the blade. The fastener was then installed by hand. Scrap wood was then used to hold the blade while tightening the fastener with the wrench. Because of the angle of the blade, the wood slipped out of place. The edge of the small pry bar was a little better to hold the blade. The washer specifically says do not over-tighten the bolt. The specification to tighten this tool is 1/8 turn or 45 degrees. I chose to use a torque wrench at 12 pound-feet or 16.3 Newton meters. Once torqued down, the tool was then plugged in. I chose to do a few quick tests with the tool. Here are these tests seen from multiple angles. This would test if the tool would function and if the blade was tight. Again, the tool was unplugged from the electrical outlet. With the blade removed, the fastener rethreaded, and the blade reinstalled, I wanted to test again that the blade could be removed when the fastener was fully tightened. Again, without a lock button, I chose a piece of scrap wood to hold the teeth of the blade. I used a wrench to help break the fastener free from the shaft. Once the fastener was free, I then loosened it with a wrench by hand. The washer was then removed. The blade was then removed. The blade and washer were then reinstalled. The fastener was then started by hand. The wrench was then used to tighten the fastener. While holding the saw blades with the small prior, the fastener was torqued down to 12 pound-feet or 16.3 Newton meters. So although a saw without a lock button would not be my preference to purchase, with a little maintenance, this free tool can again have its blade removed and replaced. As I make new videos, I want to share them with you, so subscribe now. Also comment, like, and check out some of the other content on our channel.